Hi, my name is Sarah Jo Greer. For my art portfolio presentation today, I'll begin with our first art project, the shading insect bug, the bug project. Um, so I chose this insect, and the standard to go along with it was a science fourth grade standard to identify the roles of producers, consumers, and decomposers in a community. So the students could pick a bug of some sort and they would draw and shade it just the same way we did, but then they would have to identify whether it was a producer, consumer, or decomposer. Our next art project was the Expressionism watercolors. I really enjoyed this project. I was working on it over Labor Day weekend, and my mom is a school teacher as well, and this inspired her to take a different look at one of her lessons about the song America the Beautiful. And so because of this art project, she turned her project into a watercolor activity. So the standard that I got after talking to my mom, she inspired me after I inspired her. The standard being locate important physical features, including the Grand Canyon, Salton Sea, Great Salt Lake, and Mohave Desert. So they could, just like I did, or just like America the Beautiful, they could do a watercolor of the Grand Canyon or a watercolor of the Great Salt Lake. I think that would be a good way to interpret their knowledge on it. My next one was the oil pastels, I think this was made with, where we had to create two animals into one. And mine is a combination of giraffe and swan. I really enjoyed making this one. It's very random and creative. I really like the texture the oil pastels made on the paper too, and it's all very vibrant. There was supposed to be a language arts standard paired with this work, and I chose to determine a theme of a story, drama, or poem from details in the text, including how characters in a story or drama respond to challenges or how the speaker in a poem reflects upon a topic. So they would create their own animal. Maybe they swapped with a partner, and the partner tried to come up with a theme. That's really up to the teacher themselves, but there's a lot of places you can go with that standard and that art idea. Our next one was the printing, and relating it to math. I kept the paper plate just because I had a hard time making it come clear onto the paper. It definitely took more than one try, but I enjoyed it. The standard to go with it was to draw points, lines, line segments, ray angles, etc., etc. Just a lot of different math angles and line distributions. So obviously they could take and make two acute angles and three obtuse angles, or at least that many for their printing, and that way they would have to include all of the different points made without the standard. Our next one was the multimedia with the paper bag puppets. I really enjoyed making my Christopher Columbus. My inspiration behind it was in one of my other internships. I worked at in a fourth grade classroom this semester, and the same week that we were assigned this, the fourth graders were learning about Christopher Columbus, Vasco Nunez Balboa, Juan Ponce de Leon, and they were all making PowerPoints, learning how to work and use PowerPoint with that standard. But I chose Christopher Columbus because that was within the standard that they were working on. So the standard itself is to describe the reasons for obstacles to and accomplishments of the Spanish, French, and English explorations of John Cabot, Vasco Nunez Balboa, Juan Ponce de Leon, Christopher Columbus, Henry Hudson, and Jacques Cartier. So they could make a Christopher Columbus puppet, or they could make a Juan Ponce de Leon puppet, etc. And maybe they could write a story about the puppet that they make. I really enjoyed making it. And this was a part of the paper bag handle, because it was more like a gift bag than a paper bag. And so I don't really know what this is. I don't know much about ships. Maybe it could be like a rope attached to the boat. I just wanted to make it look a little more creative, so I enjoyed being able to incorporate every part of the paper bag. This one's pretty simple. The shading activity, there's not too much to it. And I enjoyed it. It's just a simple cup from the Catholic Center here at the Kennesaw campus. The standard that goes along with it is math, and it's to compare two-dimensional shapes versus three-dimensional shapes. I also interned at a preschool this semester, and they were actually going, it's a little more of an advanced preschool. They were talking about spheres and cubes and rectangular prisms and pyramids. So I think it's important that this is covered early on. So like they would need to be able to identify that this is a cylinder and not like a square with a rainbow on top of it. So to be able to express and interpret that three-dimensional look. Our final project was the 3D form. I really enjoyed making mine. I made a turkey because it was around Thanksgiving. So I made a little turkey, figured it would be festive. I didn't really have many ideas outside of holiday themed things. So yeah, I didn't have enough brown to make this big of a body, so I actually had to ball up a gray, like part of the gray clay or just a random piece of clay to like be the foundation, and then that way I was able to thin out the brown to wrap around the rest of his body. And I never baked it, so the toothpicks are still there holding him together, or at least the feathers there. The standard I chose for it was like living versus non-living. So again, with the preschool that I worked at, they covered this. So I think it's important that to identify that, like, yes, the turkey, like a turkey is living, but not this turkey. A turkey is living, but the feathers on him are not living things. So like to be able to identify like how that's crazy, like something attached to the turkey itself, which is a living thing, isn't living. So I think that's an important concept for children to grasp. Those were all my assignments. I hope you enjoyed watching. Thank you for this opportunity this semester. I really enjoyed it. Thank you.